Look at the life that is here. When you go to the doctor and he says, stop smoking, exercise, and eat better, that's an ecosystem, or just take a pill. Paintball gun, get a paintball gun.
This was the first water feature we've had to deal with hydrostatic pressure.
I'm the hole digger.
Thankfully, with the CAC network, we knew who to call.
Welcome to living the Aquascape lifestyle. All right, so you got a front yard water feature here. Love the landscaping. And there we have the Mongolian Basalt Rocks right in the front rotunda there. And a project in the backyard too, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I am with Chris and Robyn from Poseidon Aquatic Designs out here in rural Oregon, and I get to have the pleasure of visiting my customers and seeing the projects that they do. I love this landscaping up here, and of course that's what greets everybody. So as beautiful as this entire landscaping is, this is the only one that you have a sound with, and there's lights at night, so this is lit up. Every single person pulling in right there at the end of the street would come in and see this at the rotunda. Just fantastic. Oh, and there's the homeowner. How you doing?
Hey, Greg, it's Joe Clements. Nice to meet you.
You know my name. This was what started it, and then you had a water feature before. What's the story here, Joe?
We had a pond right where you see all this nice stuff now.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
We inherited, so
you bought the house. There was a water feature up there.
And it was okay. We didn't realize that they were draining all the guttering and stuff to there, taking advantage of the fresh water, I guess, or the water. So thinking I could do this myself, of course, like many people do.
Sure.
Thought, well, I'll just buy all this stuff and redo it. There's already a hole since I dug the other stuff up. And several $1,000s later, we had something we still weren't satisfied with and owned a ton of rock and a ton of supplies and that we were able to repurpose in some form. But
nice.
we finally said two things. One, it's in the front yard, and you can tell this road is really busy, very loud. You can't really enjoy it, so it needs to be in the backyard.
So you moved the pond to the backyard and replaced this in the front yard with a stacked Mongolian basalt, so you can just have something for greeting guests.
Yeah, exactly. Something nice. Chris did that for us last year because we were waiting to redo our driveway. So, yeah.
So the pond actually came first in the back.
It did, yeah. So I think that's been about 3 years. Yeah.
Well, let's go check it out.
Absolutely.
What a cutie. I always love the dog. This is beautiful. I love these floors. Hey, Pooch.
We actually bought the house because it was a single story. It was kind of hard to find.
Oh, look at the view, though, from inside your living room, though.
Yeah, we enjoyed that.
You got your TV right here.
Yeah,
You got the water feature right there.
Great, and we have a net on it. The reason is we've lost several fish.
To a heron?
Yeah.
Oh, paintball gun. Get a paintball gun. Oh, this is fantastic.
Yeah, Chris did a wonderful job.
Oh, nice fish, too.
We've almost got too many fish, I think.
No way. Absolutely not. Well, look at that water quality. Do you have a wetland on here or biofalls? What do you have?
Wetland filter.
Yeah, so if you got a wetland filter, you got plenty of filter. So are you a gardener too? Or is that your wife?
That's
or?
my wife.
Okay.
No, I'm the hole digger.
Look at the life that is here. And I guarantee you, this is why you have the net in there. Every day you check on your fish.
We do, yeah.
They're your hobby. They're your pets.
Well, they really are.
Compare and contrast the front yard water feature that you used to have to the backyard water feature that Chris built you.
Oh, geez, there's no comparison. And the one I tried to hide all the pictures, videos.
That's okay.
What first attracted us is, I think, the noise and the soothing. Like many jobs are really kind of deadline driven and a little stressful at times. They're great jobs. We love the people, but being able to come home and relax and sit by this and just listen to the water.
Amen. Okay, so I got to ask, what do people say that come to your house?
They're impressed. They don't fully understand it. They could probably probably takes a lot more work than it does.
This is why I do these vlogs. So what kind of work is this?
Pretty simple, with the exception of we had a lot of moss this year. String moss, is that what it is?
String algae.
String algae. That's the most we've ever had to do.
Did you have a lot of rain?
We did, yeah.
Yeah, so when you have a lot of rain, it's going to add nutrients to the water. Now, there's two ways of getting rid of string algae. One, an ion gen that will actually cause it to break apart. The other one is just to physically remove it.
Yeah, Chris and them came and put some stuff in, but then they physically removed some.
Well, it looks good now, so it's in a balance. It's probably not as rainy as it was last month or whatever, but an ion gen is a great product to have if used properly, and then of course you can physically remove it. This is fantastic. Chris, you want to give us a little tour of this project that you built?
Yeah. So this water feature was a little bit unique for us. This was the first water feature we've had to deal with hydrostatic pressure. So when we dug this pond out, went down 3 feet on this one, and we got it all excavated out the first day. And we came back the next morning and it had almost 2 feet of water in the hole without the liner. And so that was quite interesting. Thankfully, with the CAC network, we knew who to call and we got on there. And so there's actually a French drain that runs in an S shape across this pond. And then there's a sump pump that's right underneath here in this gravel, and it's pumped across the yard over into that downspout out there, and then that leaves the property. That was one of the challenges we had with this project. We brought in about 100,000 pounds of stone between the boulders and the gravel to do this project. It took us approximately 3.5 weeks to finish. I think there was about 4 or 5 rain days in there because it was late fall when we did this project, so it's coming into the rainy season for us. Today, this project, with all the bells and whistles, the rock and gravel, the liner, the underlayment, the skimmer, the upgraded wetland filter up at the top, and the 8-foot stream coming down. This one has white underwater lighting in it also. It would come in about $50,000 for this project, and that would include also the plant material. So we did about 90% of this plant package out here. There's a few small pieces that they've added since we were done, but most of this was us.
Okay, so we're not going to show that brand. It happens to be the world's #1 selling fish food brand, and it's also cotton candy. It's the worst brand. If you get a floating stick food, we won't need to name the names in here, but if you get a floating stick food for your pond, it doesn't have probiotics in it, which will help break down the waste, which is part of the reason that you would get string algae besides the rain or the heat or something like that. You want a probiotic fish food. Let's see, who could you get a probiotic fish food? Oh, Aquascape has a probiotic fish food. Listen, I love it when my customers just use everything Aquascape for their water features, because then I know how to control it. A well-designed water feature is an ecosystem, and you want to work with Mother Nature, not against her. You don't want to use chemicals and algicides, and we do have one algicide, but it's only when people don't set up an ecosystem pond with a wetland filter and everything else like that. It's like a pill. An algicide is like a pill, and you go to the doctor and he says, stop smoking, exercise, and eat better. That's an ecosystem. Or just take a pill. Most people like to take a pill. I would rather stop smoking, exercise, and eat better. But it's always, 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 when you have a pond that is not clear, it's because the ecosystem isn't in balance. And there's a 5-part beautiful pond recipe for water features. 1, rocks and gravel. You have to have the whole pond filled with rocks and gravel for the bacteria to grow. 2 is plants. The plants absorb the nutrients. Algae is a plant. If you have not enough plants and excess nutrients, you're going to have algae. 3 is fish. Fish are part of the ecosystem. They'll actually eat the algae, and they'll actually be part of making the pond healthy. The 4th part is your mechanical filter and your biological filter. So you have to have a mechanical filter to remove surface debris and a biological filter to handle the bacteria growth in it. And the 5th part is your pump and plumbing. plumbing. And if you have all 5 parts of that beautiful pond recipe in balance, you're going to have a successful ecosystem. Of course, they had the wettest year in 80 years this last April, and there was excess nutrients, and so you got string algae. An ion gem will actually release copper ions into the water. They'll get absorbed by the algae and they'll break apart. So there's always a solution. My job as the only manufacturer in the world that builds water features full time is to improve the consumer's experience with water features, and that's why we create all of these things. For me to come out and see people that absolutely had a problem situation in the front and then put this beautiful water feature in the back, it's always enjoyable. And if you're interested in living the aquascape lifestyle and having a beautiful ecosystem like this, check out the link below to find a certified aquascape contractor by you. I love my job.